Oh, it should be going.
And we're disconnected.
Well, if last episode was any indication, yeah, hopefully not.
Because we're live, but are we?
We should be. It is. It says we are.
It says a lot of things.
And we've even got audio. Yep.
And it's amazing.
Technology. It's just a wonder, isn't it?
The technology that we have nowadays. Yeah, it's
Look at that.
nowhere to go but up.
Oh,
That's a damned line, you know it.
Oh yeah, there's usually nowhere to go but down. It's but does that mean you started really good and you got worse, or
It means you could have even started at an acceptable level, and it's just still nosediving.
quick shout out to Matt in chat. What's going on? And Justin.
evening, gentlemen? Evening.
What up, sir?
Air conditioner does not need to be on.
Oh, that's probably true.
That might be mine.
Oh no, it was definitely mine. I just turned it off, but
Fair
yeah.
enough.
No, yours is usually pretty quiet. It doesn't come through too badly, I don't think.
Nice. It's pointed the opposite direction of my microphone, so I'm hoping that.
Well, while we're waiting for more people to trickle in, where were you guys all weekend?
Where were you?
Yeah.
No, we were on the side of the mountains. Yeah.
The same answer for both. We were where we were supposed to be. Yeah.
Ben, yeah, we had the exact same weekend, truck and hammock, but the truck was much farther away from the hammock than probably yours was. So
there.
Just
Well.
flexing on him.
It's a very long hammock.
Yeah.
Yeah, those things.
Oh,
Yeah, so not only am I slightly tired, like I have been known to be when I get back from the backcountry, I drug Paul along with me this time and made him all tired for this live stream as well. So when we were saying Joe's running the show, we weren't kidding. Like, you think you're gonna get away with this laughy? Oh, sure, that's a good idea, but you just wait until there's fucking crickets because no one's talking.
Brutal. I talk too much as it is. I try to reel it back consciously, and I still talk too much. So that does not bode well for us tonight.
Yeah, well, I still hear crickets when you're talking anyway, so it's
Oh, that sounds like a you problem.
It's like Charlie Brown's teacher.
Yeah. Wah, 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 wah. Well, here's some wah, wah, wahing for you. I was carrying some benza today, because why not?
I got your wah-wahs right here.
Clickety clack. Yeah, it's been a while, so I sharpened her up, and it's been getting a little bit of pocket time recently.
Some nice ebony wood you got there, Joe.
You go fuck yourself. That's Coca-Cola, and you know it.
And you know it.
Yeah.
I don't. I have
I'm gonna be honest, I've never seen any color other than this, so I'm not sure.
I've seen Cocobolo actually in a variety of different colors, freshly treated. So, but
No. I don't mean Cocobolo. I know what Cocobolo looks like. I have some just over there. I mean your knife. I've never seen it Cocobolo looking anything but black. So I can't either confirm nor deny that it is actually Cocobolo.
I wonder if Mr. Fisk would cry if I sprayed it with brake cleaner to try and clean off any of the aging on the wood. He might a little bit.
I'm sure he'll be here in a minute. You can ask him.
It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
What do you mean brake cleaner on wood isn't the best idea I've ever had? Come on.
I heard you can just substitute oven cleaner if you don't have any brake cleaner. It's fine.
Probably just use rubbing alcohol and it would work just fine.
Paul, come on. That's baby steps here. We're looking to dive head
You're looking
first.
for the nuclear option, are you?
Yeah, pretty much.
We're not pussyfooting around here. Come on.
No. If I'm gonna ruin this knife, I'm gonna do it in one fell swoop.
So, who's the next there for the curry?
Dennis.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
I hadn't brought it out this season, and it is kind of my go-to. So my main carry was, it's still got pine needles on it. My Bravo 1.25. Yeah. Oh, it totally has pine needles. Apparently,
You can even
it's got in my sheath. There's pine needles. Even.
Oh, good job. There's pine needles in this photo too, left on there. Not quite needles, but some schmears. But hey, you actually use your stuff.
Dotting schmear.
Yeah.
That was my main carry. But one I've been carrying it since I got it, and it makes me really happy and reminds me of the girlfriend when I'm not around her. I also have the dragonfly, which was in my pocket all weekend long. So
I have to say, this is as nice as the last photo was. This is quite a much nicer photo.
They're all nice photos because I take them, Joe. Just
no, I've seen what you delete.
No, you haven't. You have no idea what I delete sometimes. But yeah. So I also had the dragonfly, and it didn't cut very much, but like I said, it's always with me. So
I didn't even know you had it. So
it's that small. Yeah.
just disappears. I don't think there's very many days that I don't have it on me at some point in time. But it's pretty small. So
I just didn't see it come out. Is what I mean. Like it.
Sat in the right cargo pocket all weekend long, just to have it with me. Yeah.
That's fair. I think Ben appreciates in chat here the fact that your Bravo has actually been used.
Oh yes. She's not messing around. Paul saw me smash through several things. I don't pretty on this one, although it'll take it. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. For the record, I'm already looking at Bark River knives. I've only been home for 90 minutes.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
The Bravo did definitely prove a point when it comes to the function and aesthetics all in one.
That's it. I guess it comes down to me. Is it that time?
No, yeah. I was gonna skip you and just ask the audience what they were carrying after all of that. It's
for the best.
We've already seen the prettiest picture right here, so.
Oh yeah, my pictures are not terribly beautiful, if I'm being completely honest. But I was carrying my Trailmaster, so there. It's
That is such a thick blade on that thing. That's awesome.
It pops some wood out. Something first.
It is a nice knife to have in camp, if for no other reason than, oh shit, this log is not splitting. Get the Trailmaster, it'll split. Like
1/4 inch thick, it'll do the job.
My feelings when I have to buy one in 3V.
Was yours this is 01?
This is 01, yeah.
Yeah. I like 01 in my limited experience with it in my Kookery. It's yeah.
And then I guess I don't have it here to be actually able to open it on camera and show. But I did get one final photo of my broken skull before I somehow lost it today. So
is it
fairly certain that it's somewhere between camp and the road?
In memoriam.
So. I appreciate you,
yeah.
buddy.
It made me a little sad, but like
I don't know where yours went, but I just found this one as I was hiking through the woods this weekend.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
We're gonna fight.
I know. I'm sorry. I kind of had to, though.
You. No, not you.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Me and Dennis, we're gonna have karate chop heads.
It's all right. It's all right. I got a pair of land jaggers I can use for some nunchucks if I need to. So
That's fair.
It's that kind of fight.
Great little knife. Little.
Well,
probably not the right word. But great knife. Pretty easy to carry. Yeah, it legitimately
so easy to carry. You don't even know that it's not there anymore. That's just that easy.
Legit though, legit.
There is a legitimate chance that it's sitting exactly right there.
That would make me so sad. What makes me very sad about this is you lost a version that's using XHP. So not only is it the discontinued model that Colt Steel doesn't make anymore, it's the extra discontinued model that's more rare than the one they made for a year or two.
And
you know how heartbreaking this is, Paul? Come on, you know how heartbreaking it is for Joe that you lost the special XHP knife? Come on, it's really tearing.
It sucks.
Really tearing him up. Yeah,
make it be sad. I'm sad for you, but now I want to make the audience sad for you too.
Oh, I thought you were just rubbing it in.
No, just giving a little bit of exposition for those who are not familiar.
No,
I'm not trying to be a complete dick about the whole thing.
That's what I was insinuating, but you know,
I took the knife out knowing that something could happen to it.
And then it did.
Yeah.
Yep. But it's bright orange, so who knows? Maybe if some cow didn't step on it and shove it into the mud.
Yeah. Here's hoping.
Ask the audience members what they're all carrying so far. Not a ton of people rolling in, but you know, same old. Let's know. Ben, Justin, Matt.
I imagine there's a harpy involved somewhere.
I don't know. He was camping. Might be a Gerber strong arm. That's up now. Not that we know our audience that well or anything. It's fine.
Oh, it's all good.
Justin's got his M4 Freak. Still haven't cut anything with it. Hey, Justin, you're using your knives wrong.
Well, you know, sometimes you just have to wait for the right thing to cut. Some opportunity comes up, you're like, no, not today. Not today.
This knife instead.
Left his harpy at home. He's got his grampus with him. Ben does.
Yeah.
The Grampers, we were both wrong.
Grampers? Grampus.
So, we talked briefly last episode that this might be a whole video on its own. The idea of honeymoon phases with knives.
Oh, right. There's a whole story that we're doing here. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Joe's running the show this weekend. It's fine.
Yeah. Well,
fingers crossed, guys. Fingers crossed.
Started to hear some crickets. Decided I'd jump on that shit. For me, it's an interesting topic because I buy a lot of knives that I don't really carry all that often. I buy them as novelties. My rotation for what I carry tends to be the same, 6 knives, regardless of how many
all
others.
At the same time.
Oh yeah, usually 3 at a time, but it's.
He just rotates pockets. It's like a sundial. It's fine.
Yeah. It's how you tell what time of day it is. What knife does Joe have in his front right pocket? Oh,
Joe, what does he got there?
Sabenza? Okay, it must be 2 PM. Yeah, it's after lunch at least.
You can set your watch to Joe's knives.
Actually, I might have to do that one day. I won't, but I'll think about it and I'll remember this conversation. I won't. But speaking of the Sabenza, that's actually one thing where I kind of thought I would have a honeymoon phase over, because it's this super hyped up knife. Some would say overhyped. Some people would be right. It's a knife that a lot of people have a lot of expectations for. When I got mine, the standard steel the steel that was the standard was S35. It performs well. It's super nicely machined, but at the end of the day, it is just a hollow ground S35 blade. And I would see people online falling out of love with the Sabenza because it just refused to continually blow their socks clean off day after day, week after week, right? I came by mine by way of trade. I did some custom work for a guy, and he couldn't afford to pay me at the time, so he offered me the Sebenza in lieu of payment. I offered to do extra work because that's an expensive knife, and I've had it ever since. But I never expected it to be anything other than a really good folding knife, just nothing like, again, nothing super amazing. So this is a knife that has stuck around because it is excellent. But I never expected it to be anything other than that. For me, the honeymoon phase is where I expect something to be revolutionary, life-changing, so much better than anything else I've played with so far, and then it ends up being underwhelming. And that underwhelming feeling is usually where I stop carrying some of these newer knives that enter my collection, and I return to the stuff that I'm more comfortable with.
Okay.
So I wonder if that's been the same kind of experience you guys have had.
Well, first of all, for me, I think the honeymoon phase is, the way I would define it is buying a knife, it goes in your pocket. How long does it stay in your pocket before you swap it out for something else? That's my honeymoon phase.
Or for me, it's like the fizz, as you called it, and just still having the fizz about that knife instead of just being another knife in the collection or whatever it may be, right? So
okay,
exactly. Yeah.
Do you guys have any recent examples where things have kind of phased out of honeymoon, or maybe something that's stuck around?
Oh, my Boker Nesme honeymoon phase was fairly short. That just came across. It's a fun little knife in D2 and whatever type of thing, right? But yeah, that's all it is. It's just a fun little thing, and it's not something that's going to be, like Joe described, revolutionary, change my EDC outlook, blah blah blah. It's just a cute little bastard. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
The Tomahawk, actually, of recent purchases.
The artisan Damascus folder.
Yeah. It's just as far as like something I bought that gave me the fizz, and still like the colors are still nice and whatever else, but it's just another knife in the collection. It's probably not going to get carried terribly often because it's a weird cleaver blade, and
I can't. I don't think I can find
the one in Damascus is very pretty.
I was just going to say the Damascus is kind of cool, but this is the version that you own with the green teal. Yeah.
There
we go.
So I think one thing we were talking about last week a little bit was the fact that there's different amounts of honeymoon phase that I expect out of a knife depending on the amount of money that I'm putting into that knife. So like, you spend a couple $100 on a knife thinking that this is going to be the next best thing, and you carry it 2 or 3 times a year because it's ridiculous.
A frenzy. Yeah.
Because it's a frenzy.
It's true. It's true.
Find myself my broken skull with a frenzy. But yeah, like there's kind of 2 sides to it that I see. Like, depending on what I bought a knife for. I didn't buy this to carry it ever. It still makes me smile every time I pick it up.
The old Sprint Endura. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Those things are sick as hell, though. Both that and the bacon flavored version that they did.
The bacon. I don't have the bacon one.
No, I know. Anyway. Couldn't remember which one came first. Which coloration?
I think the bacon actually came first, but they did them both in Enduras and Delicas. They did, yeah.
Yeah, then they swapped the colors after. Yeah.
They did the purple. When you were talking about both ways too, like we're talking about the honeymoon phase, and yeah, I guess every knife has a honeymoon phase, but the other thing I consider is something that was just like oh, good deal, whatever, like Manly knives, S90, blah, blah, blah. And then it does actually change the outlook of the way I think about my EDC rotation and what I carry on a regular basis and whatever, right? So
Yeah.
I think there's two sides to that story about how long the knife lasts and like how much money you spend on it compared to the other ones that you're just like, yeah, I'll get one of those because, you know, it's not a bad looking knife and blah, blah, blah. And then you're like, holy crap, I love this thing way more than I should, right? So, yeah. The Rhino for me, I mentioned it last week when we were talking about it, and it's not a cheap knife. And the only reason that was a little bit of a disappointment as far as the honeymoon phase and the whatever is just because of the weight on it. It's just a tank, and compared to what I'm used to carrying, it's a lot of knife, right? So
it's not a little knife, that's for sure.
No, but you've got the action dialed just right.
It's not a bad thing, that's for sure. And I still enjoy, I still have the fizz when I carry it. It's just a lot of times I find myself not necessarily reaching for it because it's a beast. And I mean, you can buy the flipper one, I guess, if you want to make the wrong choice, but I have the thumb stud one myself.
I was going to say, wrong photo, but that's okay. It's the same. I find that, I kind of agree for heavier knives. My AD-15 rides around in my bag a lot of the time, but not usually in my front pocket because it is big, chunky, overbuilt knife. Same reason I don't carry my 620 as much anymore. It's just heavy, especially when I can go for something like the 707, comparatively speaking. Yeah. It's like a third of the weight.
Cutting length and...
Yeah, for the realistic utility I'm going to be getting out of this thing, why wouldn't I go for the more lightweight, compact, arguably faster opening option, or more fidget-friendly option, I should say. The wave is pretty quick, but
yeah, it's pretty fast, for sure.
You just haven't figured out how to front flipper that wave yet, right? Like
that's a good way for me to throw my knife into my laptop, so I'm not going to do that now. But
well, I'm just saying.
Thumbs up, Joe, like the eggs.
Oh, that would hurt. I mean, yeah, no, fuck that. At that point, just use the thumb disc.
Can you do the over-the-top flick with the thumb disc? Come on,
with the thumb disc, you guys are insane. No way.
Put yourself on camera, Joe.
I wonder how long Joe will keep entertaining our ridiculous ideas.
No, so I'm all for opening knives new ways. Up until a point, I still think that index finger pop thing. don't think I can do it on my native here. It's not great.
Did you mean to be really dad jokey with the up until a point with the weird opening mechanisms? Because
yeah, I'm glad we caught it.
Good job, Dad. I just realized, as far as honeymoon phases and things being a little disappointing.
Well, you know, share your stories.
Yeah.
Weave us a tale.
It's a great little knife, but I think it's going to be an EDC fixed blade more than it is going to be a bushcraft fixed blade. It's a little thin behind thin overall stock. So it buries itself fairly well into a log, but doesn't do a great job of splitting stuff.
Right.
It's still 3V, so you could probably beat the piss out of it and be fine.
But the geometry just doesn't allow you to pop stuff apart very well. Yeah.
When you compare it to things like Dennis's Bravo, that's probably more than twice as thick. It's no contest.
So yeah, you're really just, this is a breakup story between Paul and his Cheeson.
Hey man.
It's not you, it's me.
Hey man.
Well, we're just looking for different things.
Well,
that's fine.
But that's actually something to consider too, is like knives that you buy partially for a specific purpose that don't necessarily suit that particular purpose.
Like I said, I'm already on Bark River's website looking at a new knife. I'm looking at this Bravo 1.5 as we speak, but I'm seeing thumb ramps everywhere. It's making me sad.
I think you can just click an icon that says rampless. Maybe not. Maybe you have to actually get a different SKU for it, but you'll never know. You'll never know.
Well, no. I might know even as we're talking here because it keeps sucking me in.
Well, you got a live stream to pay attention to, so put that shit away, will you?
Says Dennis, fucking with who knows what.
It's my EDC train. Come on, it's knife related.
Semantics.
Bravo 3, you say?
Jesus Christ. Anyway.
Yeah, so speaking of a honeymoon phase, this is before the honeymoon phase. This is when you're ramping up and building anticipation and expectation, right? Yeah.
Hey, maybe. I don't know.
I'm trying to bring it back.
He hasn't even started dating the Bark River yet. I mean, like, buy it dinner first or something.
He's been lusting after it from afar. He's seen you with all your barkies and.
Yeah, but I mean, lusting from afar. So do stalkers. Like, seriously.
And your point is,
the guy was on the drive home.
You keep on using that word point like we're not doing a knife stream or something.
Yeah, that time wasn't necessarily intentional, but that's okay. Yeah.
Accidental pointing. So yeah, it's a little disappointing that it's not up to snuff as far as doing the stuff around camp that I really wanted to do.
But we were again talking about the tasks. And mainly it's just in that batoning situation, if you were to need something that...
We were having a conversation about having, like, I'm going to have my trail master out at camp. But if I go for a day hike, I won't necessarily have this on me. And if something happened and I got lost, I want the knife that's on my hip still to be able to do batoning and everything else so that it's there when I need it.
The solution
right there.
The solution is just take the trail master with you, and then you don't have to worry about it. But
the trail master is going to be in camp. But if it's not on my hip and I get lost,
what I mean is just keep it on your hip. But then there's the inconvenience of it being on your hip, because how much does a trail master weigh? It's
37 pounds.
37 pounds.
3.7. Yeah, no,
anyway,
that's
Got to be a pound and a half.
Oh, okay.
I think it's 2. I think it's a 2-pound knife.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Which, there's hatchets that are lighter than that shit. Like,
yeah, marginally, right?
Don't get me wrong. I went on a hike all day yesterday with it on my hip. It's not the wrong choice.
But it's not the only choice. Yeah, if you could choose to be in relative comfort, why not?
This is not the knife that I want to pick if I have to feather stick either. At the end of the day, like I could probably do that technique where you stab it into something and pull the stick towards you.
Yeah,
you could make it work, but yes.
Yeah.
I want a knife, one knife that does everything. I need a magic knife, please.
Exactly.
It's called a Bravo, but it's the 1.25 version, not this 1.5 garbage that you think is all that and a bag of chips. It's more like popcorn twists, man. I tell you.
If the 0.25 is better than the 1, would not the 0.5 be better than the 0.25?
No, that's like 2 wrongs making a right, I think, in that situation.
That's like how that works. 2 wrongs equal right. It's math.
It's math. Question my math. I've been doing math for 30 years.
And you're no better at now than when you started.
I mean, he's got me there.
Oh, Justin's got a question in chat. On that note, what knife would you pick exclusively to make feather sticks with? You guys are the experts on this. What are the attributes you want in a feather sticking knife?
And it's revolving around this weekend.
Okay.
It's the Tom Brown Chacker.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does a pretty good job.
Speaking specifically of stabbing it into a stump and draw cutting towards you with it, with zero practice, with zero training, just grabbing it and doing it, you can make yourself a feather stick.
But close number 2, I would say anything with a Scandi. It would be a Mora or something nicer than a Mora, but give it a Scandi grind.
Something that bites. Yeah.
Ben's asking about a kukri as well in chat. And a kukri is a great knife as far as batoning and everything else. But they're a little hooky for stabbing bears.
Yeah. For feather sticks, kukris,
I bet you I could feather stick with my kukri pretty good.
I've had limited success. Where did that guy go? Using the part right before the swell of the belly. This little hooky bit here.
The little hooky bit.
Well, not even really little. This is a big ass blade, but yeah, you could do the same sort of technique where you're pulling the stick towards you to get those nice strips. It works decently well. I would not try to do it with this portion of the blade. Just it's a bit unwieldy for that. It's a great chopper, though. Holy shit, is it a great chopper?
Yeah, no shit. I need one of those in 3v2.
Dude, okay. Yeah, anyway. Super expensive options.
Yes. Close second. Scandi grinds feather stick like nobody's business. So, yeah, you can just lie that bevel nice and flat against a piece of wood and get really, really nice tight curls and not worry about lining up a weird convex or a V grind or a whatever, right? So, yeah.
That was the most disappointing thing about this, is it just wants to bite into the piece of wood and not give you curls.
Yeah.
I get hog off material.
I find that a lot with V grind stuff in particular, that it wants to bite into the wood almost too much. So
you got to be more precise with how small the angle is to get it to make a nice strip. Yeah, fair enough.
Ben's asking us in chat if we have any kukri suggestions, and I think Joe's cold steel is probably one we probably all suggest.
If you could find them.
But you can't get the properly priced one nowadays. So I mean, as an alternative, the Ontario Kukri is not too bad. The Spec Plus one, the K-Tac from Condor is decent.
Yeah, if you want something that's like relatively full size, like this is a 11-inch blade, I think. No, a little bit longer than that. How thick is the Ontario?
I don't know.
I'll have to look that up, I guess, here.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Ontario's not bad. I've only played with one once or twice, but...
The K-Bar Kukri is actually pretty decent. The pot-bellied thing. One of my buddies has one of those, and I've played with it, and it's pretty fun to play with.
Justin's asking about the Camp 10, and the Camp 10's a great great knife. I don't know if I'd call it necessarily a kukri.
Camp 12 is definitely not a kukri. Camp 10 might be. Camp 12, that's ridiculous.
Who said Camp 12?
Justin did.
Oh, he said Air Camp 12. No, I was busy bringing up pictures. So my big thing is with kukris, they're really adept at chopping. So in my mind, you want to be, pretty generous with the stock thickness to allow that to really shine. If it's really thin, like CRKT made a machete, some kind of tactical fighting kukri with a rubberized grip. That thing was way too thin to go out and split anything more than kindling with, right?
No, I wasn't actually talking about the combat kukri from K-Bar. They've got another one that's a big pot-bellied thing. Kukri machete, maybe, is what they might call it.
The kukri machete? Yeah.
Yeah, no, the Camp... Would you call the Camp 10 a kukri?
It's kukri adjacent.
It kind of, but K-Bar also has one called the Cutlass Machete, which is actually just to the right in that same page of Kukri Machete. But
I'll bring up Cutlass Machete here as well.
And the Cutlass Machete is very similar recurvy thing to like what the Camp 10 is.
What are we? Okay, blade thickness. What is that? 0.1.
Yeah. And I mean,
so that's a 4mm stock thickness. That's not bad. But that's closer to like what you would get at a typical fixed blade knife, as opposed to, again, 1/4 inch thick Trailmaster, 1/4 inch thick
this is
Gurkha Kukri.
Thank you very much, sir.
Or sorry, 5/16. Yeah.
That's a whole extra 16th.
It's chonky. It's chonky.
It's a splitting ball. And I mean, if I'm buying a kukri, that's what I want. I want it to chop out as much.
Yeah. I don't have any particular minimum requirements in mind. Just something that's got a decent amount of heft and a decent amount of thickness to it, as far as kukris go specifically.
CRKG has one called the KUK.
That's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah. Super thin.
I don't like it.
Super thin. It's a machete. It's combat-y. It's not North American wood splitty. That's for sure.
That's for getting into knife fights with hobos with. That's what that is.
Joe.
What? You've never seen Machete? Come on.
I have follow-up questions.
Actually, I've never seen the movie Machete either, so that's just me guessing.
Let's see where we're at in the evening. All right.
Yeah. No, it's a fine shaped knife, not something I'd want to split wood with at all.
It just doesn't have the stock thickness. And we were talking about, like, you were talking about weight forward, blah, blah, blah type of stuff.
Yeah.
And yes, that matters, but blade geometry, I think, matters actually more than blade weight. And that's what Paul was saying about the, like, being able to blow something apart.
Yeah.
Type of idea. And especially in the kukris, you can have something that might be lighter than a cold steel kukri, but has a good grind on it to be able to blow stuff. Yeah.
Like if that angle is more aggressive, or I guess less aggressive, more obtuse, let's say, that more like an axe, that's going to be better. Absolutely. So
that's the thing with how thick that guy is and being a full flat grind. It's got a pretty good taper to chop through stuff. I don't know. For me, a kukri's got to have some heft to it.
It's what I'm used to.
If you're going to buy one from Nepal, a lot of them are going to be a 1/2 inch thick. Like,
they've got some chopping power behind them. But
yeah. I don't know why I just tipped that up to try and sip from it. It's got a straw.
Habits.
I've been spraying freaking meat around the camp for the last couple days, so that's fun. I only spilt twice since I've been home.
That's something, at least. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Turns out if you shake these bottles up a bunch and then you open them, it sprays all the pressure out the nozzle.
Fantastic.
And it just seems to build up pressure forever.
Yeah, I don't know. Other than that, kukri-wise, who else has got a decent kukri out there? Gerber, I would avoid. Saga, I'd probably avoid. Condor, the K-Tac. The regular kukri's okay, but it doesn't have the stock thickness either. The K-Tac probably has the stock thickness to do what you need it to.
It's a little short for my liking, but that does mean that the pack size is relatively small. So
it's funny that you mentioned that too, because I was also saying that I'm interested in Condor's King Kukri, but I haven't got a chance to play with it yet. So
King Kukri, you say?
Well, you should just pay attention to those things because it's kind of a beast.
King Kukri Machete. Okay.
While you're looking for King Kukris.
That's a 6mm thick blade stock. That's not too shabby.
There you go.
Is that a fuller?
With a 12.5-inch blade. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and if it's got a proper grind on that primary bevel and then it scoops to that fuller, it'll blow stuff apart.
Yeah. A lot less friction against the material as you're pushing it apart too because of that fuller. That's kind of cool. All right. How long is this thing? 12-inch blade. Okay.
12.6.
Oh yeah, 12.6.
12.5, so 12.5 inch basically. Yeah.
1075. Okay, yeah, that's interesting.
You could probably win a series of a season of Alone with that Kukri if you knew what you were doing.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Is that
Well,
what Joe Flowers did with it?
No, not Joe Flowers. I don't think has ever been on the show alone. I can almost guarantee it. No, I can't remember. I want to say it was season 3. The guy that won did it with a K-Tac. It was a Condor K-Tac that was his major big knife. Yeah.
K-Tac or the old heavy duty?
Maybe you're right. Maybe it was a heavy duty. It was a wood handled one. Not a.
The only reason I ask is because I think the old heavy duty kukri was thicker than the current one is. I thought they changed it somewhat recently. Could also just be in my head, but
I think that's an in your head thing.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure one way or the other. But I can say, as far as not being in my head but in my hand, honeymoon phase I don't think ever ended with this. Anytime I have an excuse to use it, it comes out to play. It's fantastic.
I had a honeymoon phase with my kukri because pack weight, it's a lot heavier than other things that I bring to chop, like a Trailmaster and other things like that type of idea. And I find for the main use of batoning, I'm not chopping trees down. I've got a saw. I'm splitting pieces into firewood and batoning with it. It's half the weight and it's going to baton just as good because it's got the geometry to baton. It doesn't have the weight behind the chopping power. So you'd probably have a more effective time with the kukri for delimbing, but with batoning, it's not actually going to be that much different.
You don't need a lot of help with delimbing with this guy anyways, right?
Like no, but even like it said with my Tom Brown, I was showing you just like how easy it shears with the proper grip and having it choked back, and it's a little hatchet type idea, right? But
that's it.
Yeah. No. Not to be too overly positive, here's something I've kind of fallen out of love with was actually and I still like it, but the Voking Knives TO4. TO4. Their company's defunct. They don't exist anymore. I can't find them online anywhere. Doesn't matter.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, honeymoon phase is over. That means that knife should go where it belongs, and that's in the trash. But no,
awful.
Just kidding.
God awful. How can you say that about titanium and M390? Come on. In all seriousness, though, this thing.
That's what they tell you.
It sure acts like M390. It's stayed as sharp as long as most else I've had in M390 from or 20 CV for that matter. But the thing that I found disappointing over a period of time actually was how stout it is behind the edge. It's not exactly God's gift to slicing, given that it's a fairly narrow blade, and I expect that. But I think it's a full 3mm stock. I have small calipers here, but yeah, it's it's 3 mil, just over 3. Definitely less than 3.
Does your do better?
Slightly better, ever so slightly better, and I think that's because the reverse side. Oh, hey, where the fuck is my fact? I'll have to look for that later. But that's because this is flat all the way through, up to full stock thickness, whereas the fact about here is it's got a swedge, so that'll thin out the blade stock, help it pass through material more easily. So once that kind of became apparent with this guy, it doesn't see quite as much pocket time as it used to. I think when I first got this, I had it every day for 3 weeks.
You carried it a lot.
Yeah,
for sure.
It got a lot of use, but that's how I figured out that, okay, I don't quite like how stout that is for what I typically use my knives for. It did inform purchasing decisions going forward, so it's not like it's money totally lost. And it's a very, very fidget-friendly knife, but
how we ended up with the 707, I think.
Actually, yeah, that was a big part of it. Yeah.
Would you say that your M390 Crossbones was a little bit of a disappointment when it came to the honeymoon phase?
So, yes, but I think that's more CRKT's fault than than it is the fault of the designer. There's a couple of issues that popped up that it dampened my enthusiasm. I will say that the grind on it is slightly better ever so slightly better than the Voking, so it does actually slice a little bit more nicely. Couple issues with this guy. There is lock rock, so if you grip it and you press back and forth, I've adjusted it out since, but there is still a little bit of movement on that plane, which I'm not super happy about. Same sort of thing, though. This just isn't quite as good at cutting as a lot of the other knives I've picked up, especially stuff like the North Arm, which honestly, there's not much else in my collection that cuts quite as nicely as this does, but it's a 0.1 millimeter, or 0.1 millimeter, 0.1 inch thick stock. It's like 2.5 mils thick. So aside from hollow ground knives like my Smock or my Sebenza, there's not much else that'll beat it. But yeah, Dennis, you're right. I haven't carried the crossbones quite as much. I still love the design. I just feel like I may not be happy with any iteration of it until I get a full-blown custom from the guy himself, because, I don't know, so far CRKT's, like, they've come close, but...
And then they drop the ball.
There's always something. There's always some little issue that just crops up and kind of... It's a bit of a party pooper.
It hasn't destroyed my honeymoon phase of my knife, but the cutting ability of the angst is not great.
No.
The edges...
Surprisingly, on a dagger grind.
Dude, it's as thin as his North Arm. It's a thin freaking blade.
It's
with a grind that starts halfway down.
Yeah.
And the blade is more narrow, so there is less to work with. But it's S35, right?
S35, yeah.
Okay. Have you thought about Wait, I think we have talked about this before. Regrinding it to a more acute angle, right?
Yes, it will happen. I will be reprofiling it when I sharpen the spine, but I need that work sharp angled.
I might just bring that to you so you can borrow it for a little bit, see how you like it. Because it's easy enough to pack up, so maybe I'll bring that by sometime. But because I kind of want to see you sharpen that thing on the spine too, because that's just utterly ridiculous and at least
stupid. A terrible, terrible idea.
One of us needs to do it, because it's certainly not going to be me in this POS, but but it should be your angst, because yeah, why not?
Just zero grind it on both sides.
Oh, I'd actually think that'd be kind of cool to see, but no, don't do it. 17 degree, that stuff.
17 degrees on S35, you mean?
Yeah, I think it could take it. That's what the North Arm is sharpened to, and I mean, I know it's a 17 degree on a thinner piece of blade stock, but I think that also supports the conclusion. You will end up with some tall bevels, though.
Yeah, I will say with this with the angst, like pierce cutting and then sliding through something upwards works great. It actually like cutting through something where it's like, I'm probably gonna have a different knife in my pocket. It's gonna do a better job. The Pena cuts better.
Yeah, I could see that.
The Trapper cuts actually surprisingly well for being, I don't know.
It's a little sturdy, stout little blade on that thing.
That's it. But she slices.
Okay, gents. Biggest disappointment. Oh, sorry, Dennis. Yeah, what were you saying?
Oh, another one in the running for me. My Northwards, Little Bay. I love it, but the pull on this thing is ridiculous.
That's how you fight with it there.
Busting your fingernails apart.
Trying to. And Northwoods are a pretty penny. Like, it was not cheap for me to get this guy into the collection. But yeah, for what it is, I like it. But I don't carry traditionals enough to justify paying the amount of money that I paid for this little son of a bitch. So compared to my Lion Steel Roundhead, or like even the one-handed guy, like for a GEC, these things were cheap. Like the Farm and Field division of
you love that thing though.
Yeah, I do love that thing. But they're cheap. Like I said, this thing was, 100 polar bear dollars, give or take, like 120, 86 American, 85 American. Like they're not expensive. And I'd take one of those over paying 3 times the amount for a Northwoods. Yeah, so
That's fair. That's fair.
I want that knife. Give me that knife.
Yeah, there it is.
The glow in the dark one.
Uh-huh.
Buy one of your own. They're around.
I mean,
but then it wouldn't be taking something away from you.
Yeah, I want your joy to not exist anymore. You see my conundrum here?
Well, I'll wait until I find your XHP broken skull, and then we can talk. What's it worth to you now?
He's mentioned the fact that he's going to find my XHP so much that I'm starting to wonder whether or not he's already found it. He saw it sitting on the log, and he's just like, I'm fucking with this guy for as long as humanly possible.
I haven't, but it's a giant orange knife on a trail that no one walks. So if anyone's going to find it, it's probably going to be one of the 3 people that maybe walk that trail in this world. Yeah. I have a 33% chance of getting it myself just because of how many people walk on that trail.
Just imagining both of you speed walking down the hill trying to spot the knife first.
Pushing each other.
Yeah. Getting all slappy and shit.
I'm going to find it. I'm going to find it.
Oh.
So do you guys have like a biggest
finder's fee for finding it?
Do you have a biggest what now?
Disappointment as far as like excitement versus honeymoon phase, like a really quick honeymoon phase, something that came and went. You lost enthusiasm for really quickly.
I don't know if it's biggest, but another one I guess would be the Best Tech Heidi. I like that knife, but I don't carry it nearly as much. I think I've carried it 2 or 3 times tops.
Yeah, it's a shame. You should carry that knife more.
Well, if I carried overly large neck knives on a regular basis, I might, but I have standards. So
hey, man. I feel like that directed directly at me.
Yeah.
See, Matt and Ted's telling me that he'll find it.
See, also 33% chance.
I'll note. He didn't say he was going to give it back. Just that he'll find it. But yeah, the love of this lasted, I don't know, a couple hours.
You were so excited to get that fucking thing.
It's so ridiculous. And even as I'm standing here holding it, and by standing I mean sitting.
Right.
But I'm still here.
Yeah, you are.
It's so ridiculous. This should have been in my pocket for camp. A little pocket fork right there.
It would have actually been a really decent knife for camping. You should maybe bring that one along next time and hope you don't lose it.
For your food prep, just in case.
Well, so yeah.
Okay.
I was just thinking.
Good talk. Good talk.
I have this guy, this Schrade, which doesn't have the little fork, acrylic handles, crappy stainless steel blade. I actually use this thing a lot at home. It's a great little impromptu kitchen knife. It's fantastic for that. But I never had really high expectations for this thing, so I don't really care that it doesn't see much use outside of like the house or the back garden or something. For me, the one that I expected to carry a ton and use a whole bunch, even though maybe didn't have the best materials or whatever else, was the Mantis Knives Gearhead. This lever geared monstrosity. I do still carry this from time to time, but it is from time to time. This thing is goofy. And I think there was a difference between, I think I got this one through Drop back before they stopped being called Mass Drop. When I ordered this, in the pictures, I'm pretty sure the Tonto wasn't shown to be quite that aggressive. Like, the flat wasn't quite that far towards the grind towards the edge. Steep, thank you. That's what I'm looking for. So this thing does not cut well. It cuts tape. It kind of cuts through cardboard, but it is not the. It is heavy too. Like it's a chunky freaking knife.
What's the steel supposed to be?
Well, I do believe that it actually is 440C. It's a Grattan. That's the reason I bought it.
No, they're faking the 440.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
it is a G&G Hawk design, so I had to jump on it once it was available, and I like the weirdness and the quirkiness. But this is something that sits now in a like either just out on the shelf, like yeah, that's kind of cool, or in the storage pouch. But I don't carry this thing really, and I don't really use it. And that's really disappointing to me because I was expecting to have this be like, yeah, I'm probably going to carry this like every other day because of how ridiculous this is. And I just don't. Thankfully, it wasn't that expensive. Otherwise, I'd be a little bit more butthurt about the whole situation there.
I thought you were buying it as a meme.
It was kind of for a meme, but but I also expected to legitimately enjoy using it. Like, I enjoy carrying and using the Nerk tie more than I enjoy carrying and using the Gearhead. Well, look at how deep the hollow. This is thin blade stock with a deep hollow grind. Of course, it's going to cut better than that 440C chisel. Like it's no.
It's
I bet you I could make that 440C chisel goddamn scary. But anyway.
Maybe okay, you know what? Maybe this is a knife we should just zero grind all the way up the side. Slice like a monster then.
Have you given an answer for like most disappointing or least carried or whatever, Dennis?
I don't even know a final answer. I've got a bunch. That's the answer. I have a bunch. Yeah. Heidi Blacksmith definitely ranks right up there. Yeah, I don't even know.
I have one more question for
you. Rhino is in that list just because, but I can't put the Rhino in the list because it still makes me happy in all sorts of ways.
Yeah.
Right.
I just don't carry it enough for what it is, right?
If there's one knife in your collection that the honeymoon phase never ended, which one is that?
Ooh. Try to end on a positive note.
Uh-huh. Because I've got a perfect answer.
For yours?
Yep.
Well, you can go first. I don't know.
Oh, the Anthem. Yeah, that's a good answer.
Yeah, this thing gives me the fizz every time I see it, let alone touch it, let alone use it.
Giggity.
Yep. It won't be coming out into the bush with me though, that's for sure.
Gee, I wonder why.
I would say probably the Sleech Bowie is still, and I don't know if it's just the hype behind how desirable it is. So knowing that I get to have one and play with one and whatever, I think that maybe is part of the fizz. Is just like, yeah, I got one big look. What to fight about it? Yeah,
you're a little shady like that. Yeah, that's about right.
You know, and so I do love carrying that knife. That's one that's never gone away. Every time I put that knife in my pocket, it's a little bit of a like, you know. yeah, just a little something. There. Yeah,
I got you.
But the Viper Baruses, I mean, you guys have seen me how much I've EDC'd those little sons of bitches.
Yeah.
I'm gonna apologize now for the screaming child in the hallway.
Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The apology, that is, not the screaming.
Yeah. They're never inviting him to Denny's ever again. That's the moral of that story. Right?
They're out. Or me.
You were off the invite list.
You have been uninvited to Denny's.
Yeah, so I don't know if Joe, he threw up the Savenza.
Oh, yeah. But that's also...
he's got an ultimate.
I was going to say, that's not
the
really...
Tucson. Or not the Tucson, sorry. The Tucson's not as bad as whatever the hell that G&G Hawk one.
Oh, the Gearhead? No.
What's it called? What's the company?
Mantis knives.
Mantis. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. Of
Mantis.
course, it should. Everyone should have their biggest regret be a Mantis knife. Like it's.
Hey, they make some really regrettable looking shit, man. It's.
What I mean. That's exactly what I mean. Yeah.
An ultimate answer.
For it never went away.
Yeah, for like the excitement level. Even if I don't carry it as much anymore, when I do choose to carry it, this is still something that excites me. It's the Spyderco Phoenix. This is a knife where, like, from when I first saw it online, I'm like, fuck yeah, I want that.
I just want to take this moment to say, Sleesh Bowie, Anthem, and then you threw a Phoenix in there with that as
yeah. I never lose my excitement.
Howard Vale's all like, yeah, what? Yeah, that's right. I belong there. Shut up.
An honorable mention, I'll say, without getting too far down the list, could either be, honestly, it could either go towards my Smock, maybe my my Spyderco military. Those 3 knives, all Spydercos. Hey, look at that. I haven't lost an ounce of excitement for. I think the Phoenix more so than the others, just because I've had it for so long and I still feel the same way. It's like, yeah, that's kind of cool that I haven't lost my enthusiasm. Yeah, it's on Teflon washers. Yeah, it's only VG10. That's probably 58 Rockwell, but I don't fucking care. Like, this knife is just cool and it's fun to use and it's somewhat unique and I like everything about it.
I'll throw up an honorable mention as well.
Yeah.
My gunny sidekick.
Yeah.
That guy there with the little weird clip point and the choil that's not a choil, but kind of wants to act like a choil at the same time. This knife is sweet as shit with the M4. Yeah. I just don't carry it nearly as much as I should.
No,
like, yeah. So that's the other one that just has a sweet little spot in my own personal, like, that little guy. Yeah, we're cool. Like, me and that little guy over there, we're cool.
Yeah. Good shit.
We got an understanding, yeah.
Well, M4 is one of your favorite steels too, so put that in a small clip point Bowie. Yeah, of course you're interested.
Right up his alley in every way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
If I get an honorable mention, I think it would have to
No,
be...
you don't. Everyone else does. But...
Fuck, I got 2 honorable mentions. I got 1 extra one. It came from
I've been making shit up for the last 20 minutes. Like, seriously. Anyway.
Mine. That's fair. No, but the Spyderco Swayback still gives me the fizz. Its cutting power is ridiculous.
Yep.
And I'm annoyed that I like a hollow ground as much as I do. It bugs me.
Yeah. But do you like it more now that it has a good clip on it?
Yes.
Yeah,
it is better with the milled clip.
Yeah.
It is a little bit harder to get into the pocket with the milled clip, but it is worth the struggle.
They need to make a mini swayback because the full size is stupid.
No. I think the full size is great, but it really needs a different clip. A mini with a wire clip, though?
And they can't ruin it like the mini Valauten. Like, they actually have to make a proper mini swayback if they're going to do it.
Yeah.
I was going to say, are you thinking like trapper-sized mini?
Or doesn't necessarily need to be trapper-sized.
Like
shrink it down to chaparral sized.
Yeah. I was going to say like native size or chaparral. That would be perfect. Something that size, but the swayback.
A little meh going on, you know.
Just give it some time. I'm sure Blade Chops has already done a good reduction.
I'm sure AliExpress has already ripped off Blade Chops for it. No, actually, to tell you the truth, I think Blade Chops did do it, but he straightened out the sway, which I didn't agree with.
Oh.
He barlowed it.
You got to keep the sway.
You gotta.
It's not a sway back without the sway.
Can't call it a sway chop if it doesn't sway.
Yeah, Justin made the comment they should make a sway back with the handle facing the correct way. That's not a sway back anymore. That's a canoe or something. I don't know.
I was gonna say this is a sway back handle. It's intended for you to hold edge up because that'll nest in your fingers better. You're supposed to be using it in that kind of a motion. The Spyderco swayback doesn't feel correct to most people because they try to hold it like this. And with a knife this size, that feels okay. But something as big as the Spyderco Swayback with the clip it's using? Nah.
No, get that shit away from me.
Way the fuck away from me.
Way the fuck over there.
That's a knife where I'm glad I didn't buy, because the honeymoon phase would be over really quick. I was excited about that thing, and then getting it in hand was like,
there is that conversation to have, where the honeymoon phase didn't even make it to the wedding.
As soon as you get it in hand, it's
the
done.
Benchmade Arcane assisted S90 aluminum. That one.
Yeah. Let me bring up a picture here.
That was like chatting online with the girl before you saw her picture, and then you showed up for the first date and you just like pulled your hat down and pretended that you weren't the same dude that she'd been talking to. Yeah, that's what the Benchmade Arcane was, man.
That's it.
That's such
Dick
potential.
Chat here. What's going on, dude?
Hey, man.
And yeah, Justin, I understand you understand the concept as well, but it wouldn't be an episode if Joe didn't mansplain a little bit at least once. So
I gotta give context for anyone else who might be out there watching. Trying to be good about it.
Oh, the butterface knives. That's a good way to describe it. Yeah. The Arcane was definitely a butterface.
It's a good looking knife. It's pretty.
I think
functionally useless.
Everything was awesome until you held it.
Yeah. That flipper tab was so small, which
doesn't matter. It was perfect. There was nothing wrong with the flipper tab. There was everything wrong with the goddamn handle.
Yeah.
Why
would you make it out of greased Teflon? I don't understand.
Okay. It's weird because Benchmade normally does a super good job with their aluminum handles, like really nice. Like think of the 940, fairly grippy, decent texture. This felt slicker than pig shit. I don't know why, but I remember the first comment Dennis had is like, "Did they paint this shit?" Like, as soon as he held it, I was like, "All right," but yeah, that's what it feels like. And this is like valet sized, well, slightly larger than valet sized, right? Like it's not a big knife.
That's it.
A little difficult to hold on to something like that when it's got a strong assist too. So
Justin talked about 3 knives: the Para 3, the Shaman, and the Caribbean. Okay, I can get behind the Para 3 and the Shaman, but the Caribbean. Let it grow on you, man. Let it grow on you. If you actually had to pick one up, I bet you that Caribbean would have grown on you. Because I didn't buy one, but it was definitely one of those ones that kind of grew on me, for sure. So we've got some little bit of Bill C21, C25. Not sure exactly what is going on, but I don't think it's anything quite as serious as what maybe the hype would be.
I'm gonna look up
a lot of words on this page that I'm looking at here.
Gonna look up a summary here. It amends the Canada Business Corporations Act and the Canada Cooperatives Act to remove restrictions requiring the use of paper materials and to allow publicly traded corporations to use the internet to provide meeting materials to security holders.
Different thing. I think we're looking at the wrong thing. Justin's talking about Bill 25.
But that's for airsoft.
21. But yeah, I'm not seeing anything on Bill 25 that actually has anything to do with the knife.
Yeah, unless you've got.
So are we supposed to be looking at Bill C25 or 21?
I don't know. It was thrown out there. I was kind of curious on what it was, but it doesn't seem that it is anything unless Dick.
Dick is saying, yeah, C21, he got it wrong.
Okay.
Okay. I didn't see anything about that, but I've got a government mandated break. I'm probably going to be rounding out pretty quick here, but I'll be back in 2 seconds, guys.
For sure.
Yeah.
Just a quick note. I'm not seeing I did a quick search for the word knife here, and nothing is turning up for it. So it's nothing specific. Criminal Code amendments, deeming certain firearms to be prohibited devices.
To be honest, it's now looking at he got the wrong 20 whatever. He'll ask him.
Oh, okay.
With the one that told him about it. So
Fair
we've
enough.
been looking. We were sent down a rabbit hole. But
yeah, that's fair. But yeah.
bad for gun ownership in Canada, but it doesn't seem to be anything about knives.
There might be something that might bridge into potential weapons or perceived weapons, or maybe some vague language like that, but I'd have to actually read into the documentation to find out, to see if that's even the case. So yeah, the arcane is a good example. Could you think of any others that were kind of dead in the water as soon as dead on arrival? I guess would be the
I'm trying to think of a couple different things because I know there's been a couple different knives that have shown up at the shop, and I'm like, no, thank you.
I know there's been knives like that, but they leave my mind so quickly once I decide I'm not interested that I can't recall what they might be. We were just rounding out on other knives like the arcane that were kind of dead on arrival. Stuff where as soon as you pick it up, you're like, no, this is not what I was hoping for.
And Justin actually commented that he's not sure if he wants things growing on him. I don't know. I mean,
let it grow on you.
One of the stages in the way to recovery is acceptance. So just
let it grow on you. Let that acceptance grow on you.
Don't, maybe?
Well, denial's in there too. I mean,
yeah. Now we're just talking about the stages of grief. I thought we were going on a positive note.
Well, you know, I said some pretty.
We tried, but then we talked about sleepers. What did you guys have for sleepers?
Sleepers?
As far as the knives that didn't even make it to the honeymoon, I don't know if you guys had any.
I'm trying to think of stuff, and I'm completely drawing a blank on.
I was just saying that, like, there's.
Oh. The Para 3 in G10.
Yeah, that's one. That's definitely one.
I was super stoked on that knife, and I would rather have a lightweight. I want them to make a lightweight out of good materials. Because that contouring is fantastic.
So, and yeah, that's exactly it. I think Paul and I have the same complaint when it comes to the PM3. There is one
quick side note. How are you doing, Battle Elf? Glad you could join us.
Cheers.
First time periods. Yeah. Anyway, continue on. Para 3, G10.
Suffice to say, crisp corners. Little bitey.
Round that shit. Just round it. Just round the PM3 and then it'll be fine.
That requires effort. Whereas the PM2 actually feels acceptable in the hand, and the full-size military feels more than acceptable in the hand. The corners just don't feel right. And I don't know whether it's just the scale of it or... But Paul's right. The PM3 lightweight, the rounding they do on the plastic is quite a bit more comfortable.
It's so much better.
Like, if you take a look at the choil...
You want a knife to compete with the bug out. Do that in an aluminum handle. Do that in some carbon fiber.
Ooh, yeah.
Just saying. And don't make it an exclusive. Jesus.
Yeah, yet another exclusive landing at Blade HQ, surprising no one.
Do that shit.
Well, they got to make money somehow, and selling to the regular customers isn't good enough, so now they got to keep doing exclusives. I can't fault them for trying to make money, but still. I feel like there was a ZT where... Oh, the little slip joint with the double ball detent. Shoot. What was the number on that one? They should really just name their knives.
The 230?
Probably, yeah.
No, it was. And the 235, I think, was
the drop point version, yeah.
Spear point, 230 was the sheep's foot.
Yeah, you know what? Both of those fit into the same category for me. Completely underwhelming when I actually got the thing in hand. I don't know. It it feels mean to say because it's hard for me to quantify exactly what it is that turned me off so much about this knife. But as soon as I held it and opened and closed it a few times, it's like, nope, I have no interest in this thing whatsoever.
The speed point's better, but only barely.
Yeah.
I think this one actually grew on me as time went on too. I played with it a little bit, and actually the sheep's foot, the 230 more than the 235 for sure. But
yeah,
grew on me a little bit the more I played with the double detent and flicking it open and closed. I could see how I would like this knife to some degree. Carbon fiber didn't do it for me, but like I've seen micarta aftermarket scales and things like that where that sheep's foot was kind of a classy looking knife, right? So
I could see that. I do like the flick closed on the double detent.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me excited for like an Appalachian drifter or something.
Yeah, I think a knife where you're able to quickly open it as well as quickly close it in this application, yeah, that's a feature that's pretty awesome. Yeah.
Just in regards to Dick Richardson chat, I think looking up Canadian knife law and stuff like that, maybe we'll back burner that until a later point.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Yeah. Try and remember to do some research and figure out what's what. Normally we hear about that stuff pretty quick as it develops, so
being that we're in the Canadian knife industry ourselves, if something does come up, we're usually pretty privy to that. That's right. To that information. And it might be to do with court hearings, depending on if you have a knife in some sort of court situation, blah, blah, blah. But as far as owning, carrying any sort of legality, as far as knife laws changing, I don't believe it's anything in that sort of instance.
Yeah.
I don't think they've amended the criminal code regarding knives ever. I don't think it's ever been done. There's been additions, but I don't think there's been anything like radically changed about what we can and can't carry. So
flippers, assisted knives, they're all still fine. Just get them across the border and they're okay.
So yeah, we're good. We're good on that. But
yeah. I'm fading fast. Sorry, boys.
It's all good. You guys have had a long, exhausting weekend relaxing out in the middle of nowhere.
Relaxing.
Yeah. Hiked up the side of a mountain a couple times.
Relax that well, man.
I'm just bitter I wasn't there. That's all. Nothing personal, but screw you both.
We'll share some photos with you, Joe.
Yeah.
I am actually looking forward to see the photos from the trip.
Most definitely.
So yeah, I think that rounds us about out here. Definitely some things that we regret, some things that were actually surprised us in the long run, and some things that didn't even make it to the plate. So
it's all part of the hobby, but it's a big part of it.
Couldn't even make the side of rice. You get off the plate. It's Go sit over there with the lima beans, you son of a bitch.
And now we know how Dennis feels about lima beans now.
And the arcane. Come back to me when you got some texture, you son of a bitch.
Hey man, look, you either need awesome ergos or texture on a knife. One of those two things. And when you have neither, people get cut. But not the people
that need to, deserve to.
I was talking and Joe shook his head at me, so I stopped talking.
Oh no! I was just thinking something occurred to me. That's all.
Okay.
You know the texture they have on the aluminum on Dennis's reground bailout.
It's on other bailouts too. It's not just exclusive to my bailout, but
imagine that milled texture that they have on the handles. Slap that on the arcane.
I would probably own one. I liked that knife when I first saw it on the shelf.
Just the checkering.
Yeah.
Would be nice.
Even just any of that. Give me some grip.
Gimme.
All right, guys. Let's try and round out properly. So, let us know in the comments. What are your biggest disappointments, whether it's over time or when you first get it in hand? What's the stuff that stuck around that Oh, sorry, I thought Paul was going to say something there.
No, I was waiting for you to finish.
Something that shines in your collection.
Smooth transition, gentlemen. Smooth transition, for sure.
Like Dennis, your what was the name of that small fixed blade, the M4?
Gunny Sidekick.
The Gunny Sidekick, or my Phoenix, or Paul's Anthem, the Swayback. These things that make us happy to be in part of the hobby, you know? And certainly not random crap that maybe you sometimes regret.
I can understand how some collectors can become a bit of a revolving door where the fizz just doesn't kick them, but they still buy it because they want to play with something and then turn around and flip it and help fund the next thing. And it makes a little more sense when you've got a honeymoon phase that's disappointing, right? So
there's been a couple knives that have come through me like that, and some of them are more disappointing when they go than others. Some of them, they don't hurt as bad. The 909 didn't hurt so bad. The 850.
But that sunfish hurt a little bit, hey? Or not sunfish, elephant toe? Whichever.
Well, you should have never gotten the fake tortoiseshell Congress, but that's a chat for another day too, right? So
yeah, we could bitch about that next week.
On to next week, gentlemen.
Follow us on Instagram. Posts have actually happened 2 weeks in a row, even. So, hey, look at us
coming back around.
But if you don't follow us, we'll never do it again.
Thanks again to the guys that are contributing on Patreon. Yeah, we are going to have a thank you here. We keep on saying that week after week, but hopefully we can get some payoff on that eventually, sooner rather than later. Something, I don't know, dark side.
Something complete.
Where's that leave button again?
It's right here.
You know where it is.
I knew the whole time. Right, guys.
All right, guys.
Yeah. Glad you could join us. I am who I am. I'm Dennis Vipers.
I am the Iron Joe.
And I'm XL.ca.
And these two are going to sleep. You guys take care.
Not before I can dream about what the Arcane or Amicus should have been.
Other than disappointing, you mean?
Then Voxnays was like, the Amicus is my name. Get your own, bitch.